Hello YouTube, watch lovers, watch collectors, and everybody else who decided to join me today. Welcome to Fit Outpost. Today we will do our second watch and learn session. And as I promised to you during the first one, I will talk about the pronunciation of these two long Russian words. Those of you who have these watches in your collections were making an honest attempt to pronounce it properly, and it's not quite the way Russian people would pronounce them. On top here you can see the watch that is called, people would call KOMANDIRSKIE, and at the bottom is the watch that you would call STURMANSKIE. And I will attempt to explain to you how Russian people meant to pronounce those words and what they means. Here they are. As I said, on top we'll talk about the first watch, KOMANDIRSKIE. You see here the way it is spelled in Russian and in English, the way it is spelled in English on the watch at the bottom here, and the watch with the spelling in red, it's really easy to read as KOMANDIRSKIE, the way it's written right now, but it's not how it is pronounced in Russian. And I will explain to you how it is and how it is pronounced and what that means. For example, at the end of the Russian word and English word, those two characters, in English it's IE, it is pronounced as KOMANDIRSKIE, although in Russian word it's pronounced KOMANDIRSKIE, not KOMANDIRSKIE, but KOMANDIRSKIE. That's the only difference here. It will be more, I will say more about this pronunciation in the STURMANSKIE watch, but here it's really the only difference. You pronounce it correctly, the only difference is the end of the word, where the Russian people would say KOMANDIRSKIE, not KOMANDIRSKIE. Okay? Now, speaking what that means. Commandeer, the word KOMANDIRSKIE means that the watch that belongs to a commandeer, and the commandeer is the closest meaning in English would be a commander, commanding officer. So that means the KOMANDIRSKIE watch means the watch that belongs to a commander, commanding officer. You know what I mean? That's pretty much all I wanted to say to you about it. It will be a little bit more complicated when we talk about STURMANSKIE. At least this is how it is written on the watch at the bottom here. But you will notice that those of you who knows Russian language will notice that the first character in the Russian word, and I will show that character in red, is not S. It's the character that is pronounced sh. So the word, the way it is written in English is actually misleading. I don't know why the watch manufacturer decided to spell it out this way. In order to eliminate that confusion, it should have been spelled as I showed here at the very bottom with SH, and then it would be pronounced STURMANSKIE. Another thing which I wanted to point out is that the emphasis here in the word is made slightly differently in Russian language. It's not STURMANSKIE, it's STURMANSKIE. STURMANSKIE. And because it, and the reason why it is this way, it's because this word STURMANSKIE means that the watch that belongs to a Sturman. And I will show to you the word at the top here. You can see I show that in blue. Sturman means the officer in charge of steering or navigating a vessel, Sturman. So, and from there the watch was called Sturmanskie, means the watch that belongs to a Sturman. And that what I wanted to say here. So the way when you pronounce that and the way it is spelled on the watch, although I think that it is misleading, it says Sturmanskie. That means navigators, or the navigator's watch. That's what I should say here. That's all I wanted to share with you today. A very short watch and learn session, but at least you know how to pronounce those two words, Komandirskie and Sturmanskie, not Komandirskie and Sturmanskie, Komandirskie and Sturmanskie. Okay, now speaking about next watch and learn session, I promised to you in the first watch and learn that I will touch base on this issue here. As you know that each watch would show how many jewels it has in English. In Russian language, as you can see at the bottom here, it says this watch in particular is called Strela, which means arrow, an arrow, the literal translation of the word Strela. At the bottom you can see the same watch in spelled in Russian, and where you can see 23 jewels in English, at the bottom it says 23 камня. The word камня does not actually means jewels, and in the next watch and learn session we could talk about that as well. I would explain to you what that means and why it says камня and instead of jewels. There's a reason why it says what it says, and I will give you a little bit of Russian history there. Okay, so that will be it for today. If you like this session, please click on that like button and subscribe to my channel, or if you didn't like it, just disregard it. Thanks very much. Bye.